financial planning for growth. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, I'm not a financial planner, so this isn't about future retirement growth. This is the growth of your business and actually planning for the growth of your business and yourself, because you are your business, meaning what you need to grow as much as your business needs to grow. So there'll be two elements in this lesson that I'll be talking about. There'll be the tangible and strategic growth, so the actionable step you need to take in order to achieve the new growth trajectory of your business. The second part, which a lot of people struggle with, myself included, is the personal growth of how we need to change, shift, evolve in order to allow our business to do so. Now, why is this interlinked? So throughout my career, throughout my personal journey as growing my own business, I found when my business stagnated, it was because I was stagnant in my own personal growth. And I mean personal growth in terms of learning new things, applying new things, failing, adopting new habits. All of those is the personal growth required for us to continue to grow. When we grow, our business grows. If our business stops growing, it's normally because we've stopped growing. So from the business standpoint, what the tangible steps that need to be implemented from this step forward in order to achieve your future growth plans is based on what you've learned in this module and what you've uncovered and reviewed. You'll now have a better understanding of what the profitability of your offerings are, where you actually want to be spending more of your time, efforts, and energy. There will also most likely have been a realization that there's a product or offering that you have that actually isn't serving you in the long-term growth. This can be very difficult because that means we need to start letting go of the offerings that do not align with where you're trying to go. And if we're stagnant in this, it can stagnate our growth. So if that's you and you're like, yes, I've come to realize I'm offering too many things and I want to scale, and I want to preface this with, when we're growing, it doesn't mean we have to grow our offerings. It actually just means we need to grow how we're showing up and being seen and the way that we're serving our clientele. So when we get clear on our offerings, which you've done in the previous lesson, and you know which ones are the most profitable, you'll also then know who those clients are attached to each of those offerings. So there might be, so let's say, for example, you've got 5 offerings, and of those 5 offerings, there's 3 that you want to continue to focus on and move towards, and there's 2 that you're like, don't really care for that. What I want you to do is those 2, I want you to start looking at a transitional exit plan. This is very important. And I know you might be like, but it's making me income, it's making me revenue. What happens is, as we're growing, if we're putting our time and energy and effort into things that we're like so and so on, they get so results, it's okay. You're going to stagnate the overall growth of your business because it's only as strong as your weakest link. And if one of those offerings is potentially generating, say, 50,000 in revenue, but it's actually not giving you the long-term growth that you aspire for, and it doesn't have the profitability margins, and there's just something inside of you going, actually, that it's time to say goodbye, then in the next quarter of your business, I would look for an exit plan. Now, when we're talking exit plans, I'm talking removing that particular offering, and you can just remove it. Or is there somebody that you could potentially partner with that you already know who's offering this, that you can refer clients who are potentially still coming to you for this offering? You can refer to them, so you get a percentage of that revenue, but you actually don't have to do the work. So when we're growing, the infrastructure needs to be solid to support the growth of all areas of our business. And so that's what we want to focus in on. So what's going to happen internally for you when you're in that transitional phase of slowly stop focusing on everything and doing all of the things and just focusing, being more intentional and specific about the offerings you do want to continue to double down on? There's going to be resistance, and there's going to be thoughts like, I can't give it up. I'll be losing revenue. This isn't okay. This isn't all right. All of those things. And I'm saying that because I've been there, and every single one of my clients has been there. But as soon as you make the decision and accept the fact that it's time to let one of those go, and we can focus in more heavily on the ones that you do want, your business will completely transform, because your focus and time and energy is transformed. We want to create more of like a core of your business, and the core is fundamentally the best profit and revenue driving activities and offerings, and then we can support those by ensuring we've got a strong infrastructure, which you'll learn about in the other modules, ensuring the team is sound, and then all of your marketing efforts can be more specifically aligned to those. So I want you to get clear on, write down what of those offerings that you jotted jotted down, is there one or two that you're ready to remove? It doesn't have to be too many. And which ones do you really want to focus in on? If you're like, I'm not ready for that, there's nothing that I want to let go of, that's fine. But in the growth phase, the more success you will have growing your business is when you let go of something. Because think of it this way, you're about to climb another mountain, and what got you up to this point, you're going to need something different to get you to the next point. The easiest way for us to do that is to let go of something. So if you're not willing to let go of the offerings, for example, then this would actually tie into the personal aspect of this particular lesson. So as I mentioned at the start, we've got the business side of the growth. We've also got the personal side of the growth. So from the personal side of the growth, what's a really great indication and a really good thing to let go of? And please bear with me with this one, because some people are like, what? But the power of this is immense. What has gotten you to this point in your business has been a whole lot of failures, a whole lot of trials, a whole lot of success, tears, joy, and all the things in between. What I find time and time and time again in the growth planning phase, when we're like, yep, I want to do this, there's something we did in the past. Either we created an offering that never sold, but we've still got it on our desktop, or there's something within us. There's a mistake that we've made. There's a client we hated and worked with in any way. There's something that you've done that you've got a strong emotional connection to. That is what I want you to let go of. The reason I'm saying this is when you're in the growth phase, your emotions can get quite loud. And by that, I mean you can feel angry, you can feel frustrated. And this isn't to deter you, this is just to tell you the truth of what's to come. And know when that happens, you're on the precipice of a huge shift, a huge up level in your business. So just continue to move through those feelings of frustration, of discomfort. And on the other end of that is absolute growth. So when I'm talking about the letting go and the forgiving, first we need to accept that we did make mistakes. We have to accept that we potentially served a client or a customer and it didn't work out the way we wanted. And the way that we accept this is you just spend a moment. Ideally, you would do this first thing in the morning or last thing at night, and you would just sit down and just go, right, what mistakes have I made? And bring it to the surface. The reason we bring it to the surface is so we bring it out of our subconscious that's always playing in the background, and we actually bring it to our awareness. When we bring it to our awareness, we can shift it and process to move through it. What will happen, as I mentioned before, in the growth phase, the emotions get really loud. When your emotions get loud, your brain goes on autopilot. That autopilot plays that story of, this is the mistakes I've made before, this is why I can't do it. And it shows us all the ways that we should stop doing what we're doing. By you taking a moment to accept the mistakes you've made, process it, and forgive yourself, forgive the other person. When you get to that loud stage in the emotional phase of growth, the negative loop that's going to be playing in the background won't be as loud, and you'll be aware of it. So you just go, oh, I've already forgiven that, it's done. This honestly is paramount to your success and continuous growth. For the people that I've worked with, the ones that didn't succeed are the ones who were not willing to be open and honest with the mistakes they had made, be able to process the fact that they were feeling pretty shitty about something they did, and actually weren't willing to do this particular work with it. The ones who have succeeded and 4 times, 5 times, 6 times their revenue were the ones who were willing to be uncomfortable and do things they'd never done before, which a lot of the times is this emotional work and the awareness of what mistakes have you actually made, and forgive yourself. Now, the forgiveness side of things, there's an really easy Ho'oponopono prayer you can do where it's just, I forgive you, I'm sorry, thank you, I love you. But honestly, it's so cathartic just writing it down. Put a timer on your phone for 5 minutes and write down all the mistakes and just say, what are the mistakes I've made in my business? And then write them down with the intention to just bring them to your awareness. So once you've written them down and gone, I made this mistake because I never sold this offering. And then just allow yourself to feel the shittiness that you feel, because don't push it away. Just feel what you feel. And then after 5 minutes, you might want to move your body to move it around. And then just go, great, now what did I learn from this? Every mistake has a really tangible lesson that helps us get to where we're trying to get to. And if we're still focused on the mistake, a lot of the times we actually don't see the lesson. When we shift it from it's not a mistake, it's a lesson, the way you feel about it, the way you think about it changes, and that will fundamentally change the trajectory of your growth. So That's what I want you to do. So to recap, the financial planning growth section is now about becoming very intentional and deliberate on where you want to spend your time and resources in terms of this next chapter of growth for your business. This will never be the only and all ways that you grow this business. But for right now, this chapter, whether it's 6 months, 6 years, 6 days, 6 weeks, doesn't matter. For this next chapter, what do you want to be focusing your time and energy on? And of that, are there particular offerings that you can actually just remove from the website if they're not being sold, remove from your desktop if you've never sold them or you just don't like it? And on top of that, allow yourself a time in the morning, either, as I said, 5 to 15 minutes, either in the morning or in the evening, where you just go, right, what are the mistakes I've made in business? And just write it down. Be honest with it, bring it to the awareness, and then go, what's the lesson I learned from this? And a lot of the time, there'll be a lot of resilience that you've built because you were able to do this. Now, the bonus third section of this is called boundaries. What is going to happen? And I say this with 100% certainty. What will happen is when you get clear on where you're trying to go and you've potentially removed some of the offerings, you're going to have somebody come in who might want to work with you on one of the offerings you've just removed, or want to work with you in a different capacity than what you want to with your new offering. This is where boundaries come in. This is where you need to get crystal clear on, yes, I do this, and no, I don't do that. When we're wishy-washy with our offerings, we have wishy-washy clients. When you are tangible and specific with, I offer this, it looks like this is your result, this is the time frame. And if somebody doesn't match that, then that's okay. Put them in your CRM system and connect with them later if there's another offering you're feeling inspired to create. But if they don't match it, don't just change the offering for them. When they match it, just go, awesome. And then what happens is when that person matches it and you've got that clarity on what you offer, how you offer it, and the amount of time, that's going to quicken. So your customers will come in quicker. If you're sitting there going, I do have wishy-washy clients, that's a bit odd. When you have wishy-washy clients, it is because your offerings are wishy-washy and you're not concrete in what you deliver, what you do, and how you do it. So that is going to be key to this next level of growth, because the thing is, you can't help everyone, but the people you can help, you can create transformational results. So just for now, in this next chapter of growth, focus on the people you do want to help. And if you're like, I don't know who I want to help, go, there's a module, I'll talk about it more, but go back to those offerings and go, well, who do I serve at these offerings and who do I really like? Because you get to be that intentional with your business. You get to be that deliberate with who you serve and who you don't, and how you show up and how you don't. So I hope that module was helpful. I know I wish somebody had told me this when I first started, because it honestly is transformational. When I started doing the mistakes exercise and the forgiveness, because I've had to forgive myself because I was a perfectionist and I made, as everyone does, mistakes in business. And I held myself at such a high level and making all these mistakes, I had so much shame and guilt around it that I didn't want to carry on the growth, because I was just like, I can't keep moving with this shame and this guilt. So when I removed it, honestly, my business grew 450% in 3 months because I just focused on forgiveness and seeing the lessons in those mistakes, which completely transformed the way that I saw and viewed those negative emotions, and it will transform your business. So that is the growth planning module, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.